So on Friday night, I got to go see Dune Part 2 at the opening night here in London at the IMAX. We only got to go see it at the 11 p.m. showing because that was the only time that I had any seats left, and there was barely any. Fortunately, we managed to get some seats just for two of us, and I was a little bit worried because going to the cinema at 11 p.m., also with it being a 3-hour long film, if you're tired at all, films that long can be a bit of a struggle. I definitely felt like that during Oppenheimer, but I didn't find Oppenheimer that good, really. I was a little bit bored through it. But with Dune Part 2, all my worries about being tired completely went out the window within the first 5 minutes. As soon as the film started, I was like, okay, this is going to be sick. The whole sequence that happens at the beginning, it's not even that big of a thing, but it's just really cool, really well done, really well made. Just sets up the story. I mean, to be fair, like it goes straight from the Dune Part 1, at the very end of Dune Part 1, goes straight into the start of Dune Part 2. It's like there was no time change or anything. You don't have to recap or try and fill in the gaps of what happened. It goes straight in from the very end of Dune Part 1 into Dune Part 2. So I'm looking forward to actually watching both of the films together as one, because it will feel like just one whole movie. But yeah, the first opening sequence, I was sucked in straight away. I remember me and my friend both looked at each other and we were like, this is gonna be sick. And honestly, this film for me was just on another level of filmmaking, cinematography, music, acting, set design. Just every single thing about this film blew me away. I don't ever remember having an experience as good as this in the cinema apart from Dune Part 1. Dune 1 was one of the best cinematic experiences that I ever had, and I've seen a lot of amazing films at the IMAX. I love going to I always go to the IMAX if I can, especially for these huge scale films like Avatar, or I didn't get to see Lord of the Rings, unfortunately, at the IMAX. I wish that I did. I was a lot younger then, and I probably didn't really appreciate the cinema like I do now. But yeah, I've seen a lot of really amazing films in the IMAX, but this one, Dune Part 2, just blows everything out of the water for me. I don't remember ever coming out of a film with that much excitement and that much energy from a film, and it's hard for me to say right now because I need to really think about it. I haven't really put too much thought in it, and it is fresh to my memory, and I only went to see it a few days ago, but I would say that this film, Dune Part 2, is up there with my most favorite films I've ever seen. It was just that good. The cinematography in this film is an absolute joke. It is so good. Whoever Denis Villeneuve's got to be his cinematographer, he needs to keep forever, because I don't know if it's the same cinematographer for all of Denis' films, but whoever it is just amazing. Every single shot is like the best thing you've seen. It's so good. It's so well done. There's so much care and time and thought put into this film, as well as Dune Part 1. It literally feels exactly the same, but just pumped up to another level. The story was just really interesting for me. I loved the story. I haven't seen the original film, and I haven't read the book, so to me it's all brand new. And I loved the story. I really enjoyed just everything that happened in this film. There is a love story in here between Paul Atreides and Zendaya's character Chani, which I thought was really interesting. I really liked their relationship. I feel like it worked really well. I bought into it. I believed it. I didn't feel like it was rushed or forced or just unbelievable. I felt like it worked and organically grew. But then it also got me frustrated and sad at points, because it took these turns that I just did not expect, but in the best way possible. Like, I just didn't expect certain things to happen that did happen between them both, and yeah, I just found the whole thing interesting and frustrating and sad, and it drove me mad at points, but I really did like that. All the acting was just absolutely class. I feel like this is just such a good casting for the whole film. Everybody is just casted perfectly well. The acting on the whole board is just amazing. Everyone does a really, really good job, but Timothée Chalamet, for me, really stood out in this film. His character, Paul Atreides, he goes through quite a lot in this film. There's a big transition with him, and I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it, but his character I found was really interesting. The stuff that happens, the way that it sort of evolves and develops, especially towards the end. And just Timothée Chalamet's performance as Paul Atreides I thought it was amazing. The way that he has developed his character and the work he's put into being Paul Atreides was so good. And the way that he becomes how he becomes towards the end, I felt was really earned. I really believed in Paul Atreides. I believed he was a real character, and the things he was going through, I believed it. I bought it all. And I really just felt like the way that it's hard because I don't want to say anything that spoils it, but just what happens with his character, you know, he does evolve in this film. He does become a little bit different, and I really, really bought into all of it, and he did an amazing job with all of that, as did everyone else, but Timothy really stood out for me. Austin Butler was really good in this film too, because I've only ever seen Austin Butler play Elvis. I haven't seen him in anything else. I know he's in the new Band of Brothers series, which I haven't seen yet, but I only know Austin Butler for being Elvis, and Austin Butler in his interviews, he just sounds like Elvis. I know that's his normal voice, and there is information out there that he has been getting counseling or something to try and get his accent back because he kind of lost it from spending so much time as Elvis. So seeing him play this whole new character where the Harkonnens, he is a Harkonnen in this, they're like these weird alien characters. Like, they are alien, and they are weird, strange species. They're all bald, they're all evil, they're this dark presence. So to see Austin Butler play this role that he played, I can't remember his name now, but he really does feel like an alien species. Like, he feels really, I mean, he's really ruthless, he's brutal, the way he kills people, the things he does, he did a really good job. Like, I really liked Austin Butler in this film, and I thought it was sick. A really good casting choice to have him in there. It's totally different from what we know him of, or from what I personally know him of as Elvis. It was great to see him play this role, and I thought he did it really well. Sound design in this film blew me away. Like, every single thing in this film blew me away. Like, everything I'm going to talk about blew me away, and I won't be able to even express how much it blew me away by talking. It just really, everything was like, wow. All the action scenes are so good, but the way the sound is made for everything, for every single weapon, for every explosion, for every sandworm movement, for just even the things that go up and down to, like, sort of bring the attention to the sandworms. I know we got that in Dune Part 1, we've seen that, but just every single thing that we see in this film, the sound that was created for it was so well designed. And there's some amazing moments. Like, one of the moments I'll just mention is when Paul Atreides learns how to ride a sandworm. That's in the trailers, it's all over, it's not a spoiler, it's part of the whole marketing behind this. But the way that whole sequence and that whole scene is played out is so epic, but it really, really stands out with the sound. Just the way that Paul Atreides is on this worm, and it's such a struggle to even stay on it. It's like it seems nearly impossible to do it. And he is managing to do it, but the worm's just so fast, it's huge, it's smashing through all these sand dunes, and obviously there's a tiny little human just trying to hold on for dear life and learn how to ride one of these. It really feels like, with the sound, you feel the intensity of it and how difficult it would be and how just intense that whole experience would be. And I felt like that in the cinema. I felt like afterwards, I remember looking at my friend, and we kept doing this all the way through the film, where we'd look at each other and be like, fuck me. It was just so epic. Everything in this film was so epic. God, I could go on about every single moment in this film, but this review would take about 9 years to finish, which I'm not going to do that. Hans Zimmer, once again, is just an absolute genius at making scores for films. I absolutely love him. I'm a huge fan. I've gone to see him live multiple times. I'll probably go even more. I love going to see Hans Zimmer. He's just amazing. He's my favorite composer. And again, in this film, he's absolutely class. It's just, the music is just amazing in this film. Really, really good. There's some more music that's been created for this film, because there's a love story and there's certain moments that happen where there's new scores that have been brought in, and it's just so good all the way through it. I thought the music was great. As it gets towards the end of the film, a lot of stuff sort of comes to the surface, and like a lot happens that leads into Dune Messiah, if we get it. Hopefully we will get it. Denis Villeneuve has said that we're probably going to get it. He's already been working on it. He just said as long as he can get the screenplay nailed and he's confident with it, then it will happen. It's going to happen. It has to. It can't just end how it ended. It was a great ending, but like it leads into what the whole next thing is. So I hope we get it, but the story's so interesting. So much happens with so many characters. Obviously with Paul Atreides, a lot happens with him, and with his mum as well. I can't remember her name now. What is her name? I can't remember. But anyway, Paul Atreides' mother in this goes through a lot. She has a really interesting story. There's a lot that happens between her and Paul that she kind of creates and makes happen. But yeah, I mean, I could talk forever about this film. Just every single thing about this film I thought was just done so well. This for me is a masterpiece. It's a masterclass in filmmaking. Denis Villeneuve, once again, just proven to be one of the best directors that we have right now. He's one of my favorite film directors. I absolutely love all of his movies. He just seems to get better. And he hasn't done one bad film. I haven't seen one bad film from him, and for me, this is the best film he's done. Oh, the one thing I haven't mentioned is the sandworms. The sandworms in this film are used a lot more. They are in the film quite a bit more than the first film. The first film, it was like this mystical creature that you only see here and there, and it was like this like horror terror presence that would happen once in a while. In this film, people are riding them quite a lot. They're actually used like transport. It's almost like getting a taxi across the desert but on a worm, which was really good. I really liked seeing the worms, especially in some of the action scenes, how the worms are used. They're so epic, they're so huge, and obviously the Fremen know how to ride these worms, but the worms are used quite a lot. And that was one thing that I kind of just had a little bit of an issue with. Nothing too big, but it kind of made me wonder, like, how do all these Fremen get on the sandworms and travel around like they do? Because there's not just one person riding them. There's like 40 people on the back of them at some points, and they're all just traveling around like it's a taxi throughout the desert. And I'm thinking, well, we just seen how Paul Atreides even gets on a worm, which seems like the most impossible, dangerous thing you could ever try and do in your whole life, and he only just managed to do it. So I don't know how 40 people managed to get on a sandworm together all at the same time. And also, they have like these sort of baskets that people can sit in. It's like, I don't know how they did that, but I didn't really care. It's one of them little minor nitpicky things that I was like trying to figure out in my head. How would you do that? But I guess it's one of the things you just have to suspend your disbelief with, which I was totally fine with. But it kind of was a little bit like, I would like to see how they all did that, because I don't reckon they could have done that. But as you can tell, I absolutely love this film. This is one of my favorite films I think I've ever seen. I need to still think about where I would place it. But right now, yeah, I could happily say this is one of my favorite films ever. The best cinematic experience I've ever had. You have to go see this film if you have seen the first film and you liked it. Go see this film. Try and go to an IMAX, because it's just the best experience you'll get with this type of film. If not, try and just go to the best cinema, because it's important to get the best screen, the best sound. I'm sure it's going to be great on any screen, but just get out and see this film. It's just unbelievable, and yeah, I couldn't praise this film anymore. So for me, if I was to give this film a rating, I would give it a 10 out of 10. So that's it, guys. That's my review. But I would love to know what you guys think. Did you enjoy this film? Have you seen it yet? Are you going to go see it? Please let me know down below. Have you seen the first film? Did you enjoy that? I have a friend who's watched this film and he loved the first one, but thought this one was boring until the end, which I do not understand at all. I think that's mental, but each to their own. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know down below. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed my review, and also if you are new here and you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button. That'd be amazing. But once again, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next one.